Hey guys, Kevin Dye here. Please forgive my voice. The winter has come in and I have lost my vocal cords. So, with that said, so this would be a restain. You guys know how we are a detail-based company. We have one slot left from what it looks like in the spring. And then I think our season is pretty much booked. We've been very blessed with how that works. So, my suggestion would be, we did repaint the fascia and all that stuff, but once we get in and work on it, we're probably going to have to do touch-ups on it. So I would consider changing, if you feel the need to change these colors, now would be the time to do it. So if there's any fascia work that was going to be done, now would be the time. If it's just a stain, I can put that a la carte on there and kind of go from there. And if it's just a stain, but we've already got some areas that the weather's got a hold of, and it was like 3 years ago, I think 4 years ago, I can't remember. But yeah, and it'd also give us the ability to go to new colors and match the stains. So this is a woodland brown stain. I would use Armstrong and Clark. I think they are pretty much the best that I could get my hands on. So that's what I would use. In this paint, I've seen this a lot over the years, and it's just this ace paint. We use Dunn Edwards. It tends to last a lot longer, look better, but that's neither here nor there. So pressure wash, bleach, simple green. There's a couple different things we use to get rid of spot mold, like that stuff back in there. We go through, we get rid of all the spot mold. We try to even out the wood so that the lights have a different, you don't have the old light, silhouette underneath. A lot of it's pretty basic stuff. This is a big house, but all the railing would be involved. All of this decking would be cleaned and properly stained, as would the doors would get a coat of poly, and the screen door would get a coat of polyurethane as well, or a spar varnish, depending on which what it is now. That's a big thing. Both would be oil. Both would have a nice kind of a satin, almost a semi-gloss sheen. All prep. We do still sand all these. All the top caps are sanded because you're starting to get ridges in them now. So we just put a sand on those. Any screws that are needed, sand on these. Yeah, this one can be put back in a little bit. Any areas that might need it, like if there's a weak spot, we throw a screw in it. We also refinish decks. I don't know if that would be something you guys want to go to that extent, but I will put that as in there as well. All lights on the building, all lights everywhere, all knickknacks, all everything would be taken off the building for the stain. We strip the house, then we pressure wash the house really well, and then we try to clean it to the best of our ability, and then we stain it 2 coats with Armstrong stain, and then we unmask all the windows and we put all the lights and knickknacks back up. Hence why this video is so important for us, because it lets us actually see where the stuff went. We do usually one house a week. This is a very large house, so I have a feeling this house would actually be probably a little over a week. Then we also paint these. We use a spray can with a darker brown, so they don't really pop or accent, but it blends in. Like we paint these. I don't stain these like the previous guys did. We actually paint those as well, so they kind of match in. All the doors, if it's painted, it's painted. If it's stained, it's restained. And then as we come down, all this stuff here, we kind of get in. These are better because I remember these are relatively new. I remember, but again, we should have stained this stuff because this shouldn't look this worn just yet. So then we paint all this stuff. We clean it all up. And then those more grates. I can get rid of a lot of this black mold as well. I would suggest we go to more of a brown, the woodland brown, than we do going to a red at this point. But we got some big angles. I remember putting ladders out here to get to some of this fascia, but we got some pretty big angles out here. Yeah, it's definitely time. So I'll walk through the bottom first. We've got 3 decks, so all the railings and decking, that's going to be where we end up spending some time because it is considerable amount of decks. We don't usually get too happy underneath. We just fog it to put a good, basis there, but we don't get too happy underneath. I don't always see the need to stain underneath the deck perfectly. We just try to make sure there is a coat of stain on it. And so we already know what's on the back and on that side. I'm gonna walk on this deck and just see kind of what we're looking at. But I remember the top and I remember the middle. I actually will. I will come around. All these supports will be done. And they have to be stained too, because that's the longevity of the building, is getting those things stained. Very important. And as we come through, underneath that deck up there, there's on the very top deck, underneath the awning, there's that little area, and that will have to be addressed as well, and that will have to be cleaned. I'm sure everything up there is going to be pretty much the same thing as the rest of the building is. I doubt it's going to be worse. So, I'm just going to kind of base it on more of a square footage. First climb up this hill. The small side. Yeah, so we get up there, shoot all that stuff. A lot of cleaning too, because of the fact that it's I see the dot mold from here. And then under here, we just fog it with stain. This stuff is all hit, 2 coats, back brushed. We got to put a lot of stain into this building, and I see this building as being close upwards of 55 gallons of stain. And then, since we are going to be on ladders face to face with it, the fascia would have to be touched up anyway. So my suggestion would be, if it's time to go to a more modern color or something new or whatever it might be, now would be the time. I see colors for this house because I love doing these big stain houses, but I see a couple colors for this house that could really look great on those doors. But if you just want to keep them to be a little more cost effective on the job, that can happen as well. It's not a big deal. We'll just mask them, we'll mask them. But I think it's time. But so all these decks are cleaned with bleach. We try to clean the wood off the best of our ability. I'll send you some pictures, but if we were to do these decks, refinish them, they would be sanded with a huge sander. But I'm not sure if you want to go to that extent again. I can just add it a la carte, let you guys decide. The sanding of the top cap would be already included because it's just what we do. It looks a lot better. So the top cap, some of the stuff like painting these to make them look a little nicer. Just a lot of stain, a lot of work. This is a big old house. I'm not sure if we sent you guys a bid on doing this house at one point, so I can look back through my records. When we pressure wash, we clean gutters, so we kind of get rid of a lot of that stuff. So that at least starts from scratch. We're already on the roof. And then the chimney. I remember painting that guy. It was a windy day that day. So when we do the little vents, which are, say, right, those little vents that are right there, we also do the electrical box, the big gray one. We paint that with a neutral brown as well, oil based, so it won't flake. We found that it kind of blends it in, looks a lot nicer. So that's kind of where we're at. It definitely needs it. I'll put together something today, send it over, and you guys just let me know what you think. Thank you guys, and have a great season.